everyone. Welcome back to Talkoffame podcast. And I'm very excited to introduce you to Brian Torres as our guest on the Today podcast. Brian is an actor, content creator, and director. He has directed and acted in his own short films where he had a bunch of small roles in feature films and TV shows. And he also creates content on social media such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and has worked with a lot of cool people in the entertainment industry. But he has also dabbled in all different departments when it comes to film production. But welcome to the podcast, Brian. We are very excited to have you join us today. I know we and you discussed this your first podcast interview probably, so it's very exciting, but also a lot of pressure, just to be honest. But I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
Of course, of course. Yeah, thanks for having me. What an intro. That's awesome. Yeah, this is my first podcast interview, and I'm so hyped right now.
I
This is sick.
know, it's crazy. First podcast interview, it's always so exciting.
Heck yeah.
But in case like people are not familiar with your work, but tell us kind of more kind of about you and your work along with what got you started in the entertainment industry.
So what got me started? Acting and film was always like a hobby of mine. Like it was like a side thing I wanted to do. So when I was in middle school and high school, I did theater. So that kind of struck the spark in me. So right after high school, I kind of wanted to just be like, yo, I want to do acting and film. And I kind of started from scratch. So what I did was compared to everyone else, everyone I felt like everyone had like a mentor or someone to look up to or like friends in the industry. So I started from scratch and just gathered people with the same interest. And that kind of like domino affected from there. So like one thing led to another, did my own work. People saw it, they want to work with me. People were hiring on set, so they wanted to hire me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of like a domino effect from there. So one thing led to another, and yeah, just surrounded myself with like-minded people.
Ooh, I wish I got the idea when I first started this podcast a few years ago. But I'm kind of curious, once you got kind of starting as an actor, like how'd you kind of gather people to work with you? Because I know like personally, as a podcast host when I first started, it was so hard to get people to come on or even be easy to talk with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, yeah, the beginnings are always rough. Like I feel like when you start anything in general, it's always tough. But as long as you just keep that discipline and just keep going. But as far as like acting goes, honestly, luckily I had friends like in theater who wanted to actually pursue it, not just do theater to do theater like for that year. And like yeah, mutual friends like having the same interest too kind of help. Um Close friends who kind of like referred me to like other friends like, hey, this guy's trying to pursue acting. Oh, this guy is doing a short film, you should hop on. Or this guy acts too, you should probably like collab or something. And yeah, just pretty much just collaborating and just meeting the right people. I mean, for me it's just either from events, mutual friends, or word of mouth is how I got my connections around.
I know, like especially with the entertainment industry, like there's so many people in this industry they can connect with anyone from people they know, which is just
So
crazy
many.
to see how many people you meet and how many people they connect with. Because who knows, they might know big names and maybe might get you to work with them. Like it's insane how connections work in this industry.
Exactly. And I think the big part of it is being good to everyone, like being nice to everyone, being kind, not just for the sake of connections, but just like genuinely being a good person to anyone and everyone. It kind of comes back to you. So I feel like that's what I kind of did. Like I was just doing it for the fun of it, and I just wanted to have fun. And I feel like people saw my energy in that. They're like, hey, let's bring him on. Let's keep working with him. And it just kind of like reverted back to me. Like what you give out to the world comes back to you tenfold.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like I know what you said, like with energy in this industry, based off of what we put into different projects or how you work with people, like a lot of like entertainment professionals be like, okay, this person's not mean. I'm not gonna hire him again. Like it
Mm.
really it depends on what energy you bring for people to work with you, which is such a great thing that you brought up because of course in this industry there's so many things they can work on. There's so many people they connect with in this industry, depending on what your interests are, where you're working on. But energy is such a big way in terms of, okay, what do I want to work with this person? If like what are they like? I don't know who they are, but if they're a good person, then I'm gonna hire them. You know what I mean? Like it's a really all depends on energy, which is such a great point that you brought up.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
And like, how did you kind of pave your way into the entertainment industry when you first started out?
Honestly, I just like, yeah, starting from scratch. I mean, I had subscriptions to those casting websites, and
Mhm.
I'm still on those casting websites. Like, I literally had memberships to all of them, and I self submitted myself to everything. Um, and it's like you said, it's tricky in the beginning. So it's like it was definitely rough in the beginning. I mean, now it's kind of like easier, but it's still kind of rough. But I would say like keep pushing yourself. So like whether it's making your own short films, your own content for people to see, or just being in the right place at the right time, or being around the people, like the most important people. I feel like that would generally get you places. And as of recently, as of August of last year, I got my representation, which is a big thing for me.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, getting an agent and all that is fun because like now they're really like invested in me and they're working for me. And this whole time I've been just getting jobs through word of mouth, submitting myself like crazy, self
Mhm.
tapes, auditions, word of mouth, referrals, all that stuff. But it's all a hustle too. But I mean, it's also about the journey, not the destination for sure. Um, and yeah,
That's like really awesome. Congratulations on the representation. I like a representation is such a major factor in this industry because of course now you can't do everything alone. Like everything is like
no,
you can do so many things and even that might not work out as a person. Even myself, I hate doing things on my own to the point where I'm like, that's why I get an agent or a manager that can do everything for me. So I want to do it anymore. Like it's
yeah,
just like with doing everything on your own, representation is such a major factor in terms of okay, how can I help in these projects or how can I get a project? Like representation, I think is such a major thing you need to get as an actor, model, or whatever you decide to pursue. Like, how has that helped you? We get representation, and kind of help building yourself.
I mean, as of now, I mean, because it's post writer strike or actor strike, so
Yeah.
things are still kind of slow, but slowly picking back up. I mean, I have been getting auditions here and there. But I mean, honestly, like for an average person, just create your own yes, whatever
Hmm.
that means. So like whether it's making your own project, your own content, and treating yourself like you are the product, like investing in yourself is like a really big thing. Because like once you take yourself seriously and your surroundings kind of see that, they're like, okay, we can trust him. He's taking it seriously. I want to work with him, type of vibe. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of just taking yourself seriously, and people will see that for sure. And you don't know who's watching, whether it's like your demo reels, your acting reels, your short film, the scene work, acting classes, which I've done last year, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, you just never know. You just never know.
You seriously never know. You're exactly right because, of course, with this industry, like you don't know who you're gonna run into with different things like reels, demos, auditions. Like there's so many projects that you can meet someone that like, okay, I know what's to say Dwayne Rock Johnson. You want to meet him and work on a project with them. Like it's just really putting yourself out there. Of course, when I started this about 3 years ago, I was like, this is not gonna last ever. Or like this is
Mhm.
not gonna last. Like, why should I put seriously in this thing? Like, what's the point? But it's like we're working your butt off in terms of what you do, as long as you love it and you're working your butt off to get where you are, like
Mhm.
that's seriously the most important thing. Because who knows you're gonna meet in a couple of years. You might meet your inspirations, big name actors, like you seriously never know.
You never know. And you never know who's going to be watching this podcast to get inspiration from. So
Right?
you never know.
Exactly.
You
You
never
may
know.
never know. But how do you deal with like people not believing in you as an actor? Because I'm sure, because of course with this industry, like you have to have a good support system. Because of course with rejection after rejection, like it's very hard, and you need people to kind of be by you, as like friends or family, to be by you to help support you. But how do you deal with people not believing in you as an actor?
I mean, till this day, I mean, there are still people today who don't believe in me, and I can just sense that. I mean, ever since I started, like people would think like, "Oh, Brian, that's a crazy idea. I don't think like." They gave me the impression of like, "You want to do that? Good luck," type of impression, right? But I
Mm,
mean, honestly, whatever you do, regardless, people are gonna say something about it. So I feel like at that point, it's better to just do what you love and like people hate on it rather than doing what you hate and people hate on it, and that's like a double negative, and that'll like wreck you, you know? So I
mhm.
just feel like how I deal with it, I respect their opinions and all that stuff, but in my head, love and hate can kind of be similar. Like hate is like a different version of love. Like if someone's gonna go out of their way to say something bad about your outfit, your work, or whatever it is, that means they kind of care because they kind of went out of the way to say that. That means they care. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So I mean, like it is tough. Like I'm like as an average human being, like being hated on, like it can bother you at sometimes, but I try to look at the bright side, like, he cares, or he's having a tough day. Or yeah. Even like some of my like the people closest to me still don't believe in me. But whenever I show my successes, they root for me. But when they see my failures, they're like, quit, stop, don't do it anymore. But in my heart, from the bottom of my heart, like since I'm very passionate about it, that kind of drives me. So that motivates me to like work even harder and just prove the naysayers wrong, you know?
Yes, I love that. Like, of course, with this industry, or even in general, a lot of people love to doubt you down. That's because you love it so much. No matter if you
Yeah.
post something on social media saying, "Oh, this is so cringy," like, "Why did you
Mhm.
post this?" Like a lot of people have done that. Now, of course, everyone deals with doubters in their life, not people not supporting them. Like I have dealt with like hate and not supporting people in my life. I mean, then I probably will in a couple more years. Who knows? But it's like,
Mhm.
well, of course, like with being in like entertainment or do what do you do, it's very you're gonna face a lot of doubters in your life, and I'm still trying to focus on that. Like, why am I dealing with this? Like, why are people hating on me for doing what I love and what I enjoy doing? But it's as long as you kind of enjoy what you're doing, that's honestly the most important thing. Of course, I it gets me so upset when people do that. But on the bright side, like there's so many reasons people love to hit on you and say things about you that are not true, which I
Mhm.
still deal with. It makes me like, okay, this person that I've been friends with for years loves to say all that stuff that I
Mhm.
hate, but,
Mhm.
it's always it's a good and bad relationship between hate and what is good about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very it's a good and bright side because, of course, you might need that, advice or sayings, but, of course, like, these people are probably gonna care, like you said, that you're doing that.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. And there's this quote I read the other day. I forgot who it's from, but the quote goes, I'm a big quote guy. So it goes, people don't hate the good ones, they hate the great ones. So I kind of took that to heart. I'm like, respect, you know?
Yeah, I
And
love
I
that.
also feel like with rejection, like I don't often get a lot of rejections. It's more, I get more ignorance than rejection, which is kind of like a weird thing to say, but I feel like it's also a common thing.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me straight up no, like I'll move on with my day and just, I won't take it personal. But like with being ignored, like I hate the feeling of being like, oh, did he say yes or no? Are they still thinking about it? Like keeping me in wonders where I'm just
I
like,
know.
you could have just told me straight up
Yeah,
so I could move
exactly,
on with
that
my
drives
day.
me crazy, like, I was just discussing to my dad, like, 2 days ago about, like, doing some things with someone, and they're like, didn't give you a straight up answer, and that is, like,
Yeah.
a big pet peeve of mine is that, like, if someone doesn't give me a yes or no answer, that I'm like, okay, bud, what's the actual answer? Are you just gonna leave me hanging and check my phone every 2 seconds?
Exactly. Like I'm better at handling rejection than just being ignored.
Exactly, exactly. Then they just keep you waiting all day just so you
Exactly.
get nothing.
Yeah.
But do you think of being in this industry, do you think like that you would need a good support system?
Oh, totally. I feel like especially in the entertainment, film, acting world, it's really about how you present yourself and the people you know.
Mhm.
So like whether it's because you don't know, like there's this other quote. I'm another quote guy. It goes, your net worth is your net worth.
Ooh,
So I'm gonna give
that's
you a second to think about that. So like the people you know, the people around you shows your value. Like, oh, you're working with this guy today? Oh wow, so you must be like really good at what you do, or they really care about you. You know what I mean? So I feel like having a good support system does mean a lot.
it
And it's
really
really
does.
about who you know.
Yeah, because of course when people see like, oh, I'm working with this guy today, or I interviewed this guy today, or something, they're like, oh, you must be very famous, or you must be like good what you do if you're interviewing, let's just say, I don't know, Austin Butler, for example, like one of those big name
Killing it.
actors you're working with. Like people think, oh, are you famous or are
Mhm.
you big just because you're working with this person? But it's like as like it really all is a network. Like it really all is a
Yeah.
network in terms of what you do. Because of course, if you network in different projects, that's
Hmm.
basically where my success comes from. Honestly, it's all about network. And that I'm sure it's for you as well. But I found that LinkedIn is also a big tool as well. That absolutely is like now my favorite app of all time. Honestly, because it's like with LinkedIn is such a big tool to connect with others in the industry. And
Totally.
of course, I'm a big networking person, so whenever there's a networking thing going on, I'm like, I'll be there no matter what. But of course, I'm a big quote person as well. I love reading different quotes. If you like scroll through the podcast Instagram, make sure if you do follow it, I recommend. But if you
I
scroll
will.
the podcast Instagram, you'll see all these quotes posted on the Instagram. I haven't posted much lately with quotes, but if you scroll down, every post is basically all quotes. And I love going for quotes or something. It's always it's starting to become a pet peeve is scrolling for a million a day.
Hmm.
But do you have like a favorite quote in terms of about talking about quotes? What do you have a favorite quote?
Ooh, I have so many. It's hard to pick one. Oh, I gotta sit on this one. Hang on, I got it.
I know this is a very hard question. I can probably give you a million that I absolutely love.
Oh, there's this one quote. I mean, it just came to me, but I don't know. It's one of my favorites, but I don't know what my top one is. But I think it's by Jim Carrey.
Ooh.
Um, he goes like it's all like summarize it for you, but he basically says, uh, I'd rather do like love what I do and fail. I'm not sure if I'm getting the quote right. I don't know. But he basically says, um, to try at something you love rather than to fail at something you don't love. That's not word for word, right? But that's the same impression. So basically, he's saying that rather like give a shot at doing something you love than doing something you hate doing and failing at that already.
Ooh, that's a good one. I have to look
Yeah.
that one up once we head off because I'm a big Jim Carrey girl. I love Jim Carrey's movies, so I have to look at
Yeah.
that one. And like that's like quote is actually accurate because if you enjoy what you're doing and working hard at it, and even if you fail, like that is like as long as you fail doing what you love, it's all a learning process. Like even if you hate what you're doing, you're like, why are you putting that time and energy? Is something you absolutely hate and it makes no sense. It's
Yeah,
a total opposite.
exactly.
But in your opinion, like what makes content successful?
Content as far as like social media content or just content.
Or social media content or it's any acting projects.
I feel like content like is a great way to show what you're capable of, what your interests are, and I feel like that will show you as a person, like what your skills are, how you can perform, in terms of social media, if you're relatable and people can laugh, or like which is a lot of my social media content is like comedy, relatable stuff. Um, and yeah, I feel like content is very important because it showcases what you do.
And also is a big factor in, of course, growing a platform. Like
Mhm,
content creation, I never had a big content creation person. I was never into content creation. I was always
mhm.
bad at it. If you look, I literally deleted a bunch of TikToks like months ago because how bad it was. Like,
Oh no.
'cause, I'm a bad content creator, but it's like with me, I usually start posting on TikTok again. Like it's just like I'm a big TikTok person. Like every content creation is so different and you never know how to make a content successful. Like I literally try to find millions of ways to find
Mhm,
different strategies, but like so hard to be a good content creator if you don't know what's successful. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah, totally. Especially with social media, I feel like the best way to make like either a viral content or a big video is find something that you love and find the most relatable thing about it. And I feel like if you find it funny, someone out there will find it funny or entertaining. So I
Mhm.
feel like it's like find yourself relatable in everyone else's shoes. So be the viewer, but also be like create something that you would watch.
That is some great advice. I would
Yeah.
definitely note that because of course, love TikTok. So as long as someone's on TikTok is into comedy or podcasting,
Hmm.
okay, you're on my alley. But do
Exactly.
you have like any like upcoming projects?
As of now, I do have like some scripts ready. I do have one short film that's in the works. The script is finalized. I do have a few scene work stuff just for my demo reel. A couple features like me like cameoing in like TV shows and feature film that's soon to be released. But nothing crazy. But as far as like content goes, um I have a few cameos and like I've worked with a few well-known people. I'm not gonna say who just yet. I'm just gonna post it and let everyone find out. But they're awesome people, and I would say it's an honor to be in a sketch or a video with them. So yeah,
Ooh, now you got me going crazy on who it is. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah.
Of course. So even with the cliffhanger, guys, make sure to check it out
Yep.
in the next
Tune
couple of
in,
months.
tune in.
But like how do you like find inspiration for content creation? Like how do you kind of find different strategies or inspiration for making content, whether it's film, like
Mhm.
regular content on social media or etc.
I mean, finding inspiration. I mean, for me, I just love sharing stories, telling stories, whether it's short form content or long form content. So, what I like to do personally is gathering up all my interests or like taking bits of my interest and just showcasing it, whether it's because I have a lot of interests. So, it's like I'm kind of
Mhm.
like a man of many. So,
Yeah.
whether it's basketball, boxing, music, playing guitar, or just comedy, just making people laugh, or serious tone films, just stuff like that. I feel like growing up, I just loved watching films and being
Mhm.
entertained. And like I try to keep that little kid struck in me. And
Yeah.
that little kid in me is what keeps me going because like that love for it like inspires me to keep going. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like if I were to look back when I was like 5 years old, like if you were to look at me now, he's like, yo, that's gonna be me. That's me.
Yeah,
Like
it's
just
me in 20 something years. Like how can that
yeah,
be?
exactly. Yeah. So I just love being able to be a little kid, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like living out your dreams like 20 years later is like you're the actual 5-year-old when you get success. Like with me,
Yeah.
whenever I
Or at
get
least I'm trying. Yeah.
yeah, I really to try. Whenever someone subscribes to the podcast or something, I literally act like a 5-year-old and celebrate. Like it's just like your 25-year-old self is like, okay, like this is me 5 years ago, and I got so much success then. Like it's crazy to look back how many years later and see how much success or the people you met 5
Yeah.
years ago. Like, it's insane to look back. Like, if you asked me 4 years ago if I was doing a podcast, I would tell you, you're crazy. That would never. Like, I'm being totally honest. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
mean, like time does fly, and like the progress has been crazy. Um, and as of now, since my pursuit, like the goal is ultimately like acting and directing, I'm
mhm,
just waiting for that phone call or that audition or that booking that big role. But I feel like coming soon. I feel like coming
yeah.
soon.
It's definitely coming soon. This gotta work for it, dream it. You probably will get it. Like, who
Yeah.
knows? It always comes in different processes. But before
Mhm.
we head off, I'm starting a little something new with this podcast and
Ooh,
asking a little fun questions at the end of each episode now. And basically, we're gonna do kind of a little fun questions to end this episode off. But the
do it.
first question, I know you love to box, like on your free time, but if you could box anyone, who would it be?
Jake Paul. No, I'm just kidding. Ooh, that's a tough one.
I would say
I
Jake
mean,
Paul
there's so
probably
many
would be
greats.
like easy one to fight.
I mean, looking at all the greats, I feel like growing up, I watched a lot of Manny Pacquiao because
Mm,
one, I'm Filipino and he's just a crazy boxer. So he's definitely someone who I looked up to, and I feel like sharing the ring with him would be kind of crazy, even
mhm.
though he'll whoop my butt for sure. But like I just feel like yeah, being like sharing if I were to share the same ring with someone who I look up to in terms of boxing, like that would be crazy.
Yeah, even if you didn't win or necessarily get killed, you're like, okay, at
Yeah,
least I got this experience. That's the most important
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I got a black eye, but I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I just boxed someone that I loved growing up.
Yeah,
You know, I just got killed in the ER. So,
yeah. But all respect to Jake Paul, he is like he went from social media to boxing. He is killing the game.
oh
Even
yeah, I used
sharing
to
the
watch
ring
him
with him
growing
too.
up, and it's so crazy to see where he's at now and where he was 5 years ago with acting and social media. Because he was one of the biggest social media content creators like 2 or 3 years ago. He was one of the biggest names ever.
Yeah, he's taking it seriously and he's doing a great job at it. So like props to him. Even
Yeah,
sharing the ring with him too. I
yeah.
would be down for that.
Oh, that'll be a good one. I'd love to see
Yeah.
that one live. That'll be a good one to watch. But what is your favorite TV show or movie?
Ooh, TV show. Let's see. Growing up, it was One Tree Hill. I don't know
Ooh,
if
that's
you've
a good
seen that
one.
show. That's a pretty like early 2000s show, but I know it revived like Netflix like kind of revived it. But TV show for sure. One Tree Hill and movie. I feel like a standalone movie would have to be Patch by
Mhm.
Robin Williams because Robin Williams, if you didn't know, uh, is the reason why I want to do acting and make
Mhm.
people laugh. Like he's one of my inspirations in terms of acting. Like he's just a great storyteller. And every movie that he does, he has a way to touch your heart and make you cry
I
at the end of every
know.
movie. And that's what I
That's
kind of want to do. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and I feel like franchise Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter is a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one. But Rob, have
the
you seen
glasses are
Mrs.
the inspo right
Doubtfire?
now.
Oh, with glasses. It really
Yeah.
reminds me, what's his name? I'm not into really into the Harry Potter franchise, the main character with the black hair with the glasses. As in,
Oh, Harry Potter.
yeah, Harry Potter,
Harry
yeah.
Potter. Yeah, yeah.
And like you kind of remind me of that a little bit. But have you like in
Woo!
terms of Robin Williams, did you ever see Mrs. Doubtfire?
I did. That was a great movie too.
That's so good.
Hilarious.
That's probably my favorite Robin Williams movie because it's so hilarious. Like every time I need a crack up, I always watch that movie because it's
Uh-huh.
so hilarious. I think
It's
it's
so
one
fun.
of the best Robin Williams movies like ever made.
Have you seen Dead Poet Society?
I haven't, but I think
That's a
it
great
sounds
one.
familiar.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Really? I have to check it
Yeah,
out now. I really don't really watch as much movies as I did, but I definitely have to check it out now.
so
But
good.
if you weren't an actor, what would you be?
Oh, if I were an actor, that's tough. I mean, my first love was basketball, so probably play overseas or try my chances to play in the NBA. Uh, maybe an athlete of some sort, boxing or basketball. I don't know, but either that or probably like a businessman of some sort.
Good answers. I would
Businessman.
like if you ask me now, I'll be like, Probably nothing. I mean, probably nothing because I would never know what I was gonna be besides doing what I'm doing now. Because I was
Uh-huh.
like growing up, it was up in the air. I'm like, okay, how did I choose a career field? Like, there's so many things that can go into that. There's like so many options of what to do.
Yeah. There's so many things to do out there. And like I love just being able to do more than one thing. Like I'm
Mhm,
thankful and blessed to say that, oh, I don't love just one thing. I love so many things because I feel like God gave us two hands so we can do
mhm,
more than one thing. And like the burning out, I mean, as a creator, I feel like every artist kind of experienced this, like
mhm.
being burnt out. Like it's a thing, it's a serious thing.
Yeah.
And I like to think like if I'm bored of one thing, I'll just move on to the next thing I love and just come back to it. That's why I love, having a variety of things that I love.
That's so true. And I like burning out, it's not fun. It's like
It's not.
every person in a role has dealt with burnout. I do burnout like every once or twice a week with how work things go. It's so bad
Yeah,
that with
but it's so
burnout,
normal. Like I totally understand it.
like it's awful. I do not recommend getting burnout. This is FYI, don't get burnout. Just saying. But before we wrap up, what is some advice for upcoming actors that want to start out in the industry?
For an upcoming actor, I would say find people with the same interest, network, and be kind to one another because that can take you a long way for sure.
Mm, that is so accurate.
Yeah.
I love that. And that is honestly a great way to wrap up this episode. Thank you so much, Brian, for taking the time with us today. I know we've been trying to go back and forth to do this episode, so I'm very
Yeah, I'm glad we finally did it. This is
I
awesome.
know it's been forever, but I'm happy me and you were able to finally do this. And thank you everyone
Totally.
for listening to this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for our coming episodes. There's so many amazing guests coming on, so stay tuned for this like next couple of weeks for different episodes. But I really appreciate you, Brian, for joining us today. You're amazing. I really appreciate you and your work you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun for being a first podcast interview. I'm
Oh,
psyched.
thank you. It's super, it's an honor for sure. It's super an honor. But thank you so much, Brian, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.